Hello everyone, welcome to Educate 247. Today we are going to see the strategy to prepare for government schemes for the upcoming RBI Grade B examination 2021. Let's begin. So the strategy to prepare for government schemes includes 3 points. That is how important it is to study the government schemes, why, what and how to study the government schemes. These are the 3 dimensions, and how Educate 247 is going to help you to cover these government schemes in a systematic manner. Once you know what to study, why to study and how to study the government schemes, scoring marks on the government scheme won't be a difficult task. We are also going to provide detailed notes on the schemes, and some of these schemes will also be covered through our YouTube videos. So how important it is to study the government schemes for this examination. Talking about the importance of the government scheme, we have seen in phase 1 that 5 to 10 marks out of 80 is allocated to general awareness, which includes government schemes, and in phase 2 out of 100 marks, 15 to 20 marks on an average is related to economic and social issues of government schemes. So as we know that 15 to 20 and 5 to 10 marks are allocated in phase 1 and phase 2 for the government schemes, scoring well in these schemes is very important to get good marks and a good ranking. And learning these schemes, it is not very difficult, as it does not require any thinking or reasoning or analytical or any sort of reasoning. Only if you know the direct facts of the scheme, the direct objectives and what is related to the scheme, then scoring marks is not a difficult task. Educate 247 is offering 2 courses for RBI Grade B. All these courses are available on our website www.educate247.com. To have a look at these courses, please visit our website. Okay, what schemes are to be covered? So this includes what to study, which schemes to study. Firstly, it includes the newly launched schemes in that particular year and the old schemes from past 1 year which are frequently in news. They are frequently in news because any new update or amendment might have been made, or any new app might have been developed on this scheme, or the basis on, or any new app has been developed on the basis of that scheme, or the aim or target for which the scheme has made has been achieved. So those schemes which are from the past 1 year, which are covered by the news and the media frequently because of certain amendment, update, target or objective accomplished, then it is necessary to study those schemes which are in past 1 year besides the newly launched scheme. And also some old famous schemes like M-Narega, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, which are very famous. No matter how old, it is very important to know them. How to cover the government scheme? This includes like the dimensions and points of the scheme to be covered. First of all, for every scheme, it is important to know the nodal agency. And secondly, it is also important to know that what are the beneficiaries in the scheme, and how, if there are, like, each scheme has certain beneficiaries, and if there are beneficiaries, on what criteria are these beneficiaries selected. Then we also need to know for the duration of the scheme. So a scheme might be for 2 years, for 5 years, and also there are certain schemes which are centrally sponsored schemes or a central sector scheme. So we need to know, distinguish the schemes on whether it is a centrally sponsored scheme or a central sector scheme. Next, we also need to know that whether the budget has given some amount to this scheme. When was the scheme announced? Sometimes schemes are announced in the 2020 budget, 2019 budget, and what are the portals which are developed related to this scheme. Some schemes are only for certain states, whereas some schemes are for the whole country. So we need to know whether the scheme is for whole country or for certain states. All this, like suppose the nodal agency, if it is PM Swanidhi, we need to know that this is under which agency? Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Who is covered? What are the beneficiaries? All these objectives will covers the question how to cover the government scheme. let us see this scheme. PM Formalization of Micro Food Processing Enterprise Scheme. So as you can see, PM Formalization of Micro Food Processing Enterprise Scheme. For this, the nodal agency will be Ministry of Food Processing. Now the next thing is, what are the objectives of this scheme? So as I told you, it is to increase in access to finance to the food processing units, transition from unorganized sector to formal sector, encourage waste from wealth. One district, one product approach has been followed. And now if one district, one approach, who selects this one product? This product is selected by the state government. On the basis of what this product is selected, keeping in mind the existing clusters and the availability of raw materials. Other areas also include waste to wealth products, minor forest products, aspirational district. Then what is the duration? It is for 5 years. It is this scheme is a centrally sponsored scheme. Since it is a centrally sponsored scheme, the outlay is 10,000 crores, and it is not a central sector scheme. Since it is a centrally sponsored scheme, there will be a ratio between the center and the state in which the amount is allocated. So for states it is 60:40. For northeastern state and Himalayan state it is 90:10, and a UTs without a legislature is 100% by the center. Okay, so this is the ratio in which the amount is going to be allocated. Okay, and cluster approach is being followed. Focus on perishable, and this is a credit. 2 lakh micro enterprises are to be assisted with credit linked subsidy. Micro enterprises will get a credit linked subsidy at 35% of the eligible project cost. So at what percent? It will be 35% of the eligible project cost with a ceiling of 10 lakh per unit. So all these amounts and the percentage and the ratio, like the amount allocation, needs to be known. And this scheme, the support would be provided through credit linked grants, that is 35%, and to develop common infrastructure including common processing facilities, lab, warehouse, through farmer produce organizations, self-help groups, cooperatives or other state-owned agency. So with this scheme, who is going to benefit? Nearly 8 lakh micro enterprises are going to benefit it. It will also enable to formalize, grow and become competitive. Better integration with the organized market. Since the informal will be formalized, it will be helping it easier in the integration with the organized market. So this is how we are going to cover each and every government scheme which is important from the government point of view. Thank you and happy learning.